After decades of back and forth, Lagos, Nigeria eventually built and launched its first metro line. As Africa's largest city, Lagos needs multiple transport modes to help its over 20 million residents get around. The Lagos Blue Line is currently a 13-kilometer long electric metro connecting Marina on the island to Mile 2 on the mainland. But plans are underway to more than double this line, expanding the possibilities for Lagos residents. The second phase of this blue line is currently under construction and it's being built to connect Mile 2 to Okokomaiko. I went out in the city to check the progress and see how feasible the proposed 2027 delivery date is. The current line terminates Mile 2. The first major hurdle on this line is a bridge over the Lagos Lagoon. A bridge will definitely need to be constructed. Yes, it will be a short bridge but constructed. After that, the landscape is relatively flat from Mile 2 all the way down to Okokomaiko, but there are some elevated sections on the way to the final destination. A total of 6 new stations will be constructed, bringing the entire line to 13 stations over 27 kilometers. We arrive at Festac station. A quick look at the Festac station tells you that the design language from the existing terminals was maintained for this project. It looked quite similar to many of the other terminals on the line. Festac is an essential neighborhood in Lagos. I don't think there's anybody that's resided in this city that doesn't know about Festac. It's no surprise that one of the train stations would be in Festac. As you can see by the stage of construction so far, a large chunk of the skeleton for this terminal or station has been completed. You can get an idea of what finished product gonna look like. When you are coming from Mile 2, Festac is technically the first station, so it makes sense that this is one of the stations that has seen lots of progress so far. I can't tell you how much longer the project will take. I can't tell you anything like that because I simply do not know. But what I do know is that the current government in Lagos has a 2027 goal for delivery of this project, and I can't tell you if this is feasible or this is possible based on what is done so far. But what I can tell you is that Festac station is one of the more complete stations on the line so far. What do you think of the design so far? If you've watched my other videos of the blue line or gone through the experience, what do you think of the design so far? While you are replying on that, why don't you consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video while you're here? It means a lot and supports the work we do. On the journey from the Festac station to the next station, which is the Alakija, you would pass through an elevated section, and this is the first part of the line that elevated, not for physical reasons like a river but other roads. There's an existing bridge here, so I assume the elevation is due to state of soil. Maybe the soil is not packed or who knows. I'm just guessing. There's a major construction on route here, and you can see a handful of new interchange. I cannot wait for this development to get further, because while traveling on the West African coastal line Abidjan, the Lagos section is perhaps the worst part, and that doesn't speak well of our country. If you're a construction professional or you're close to the government or perhaps project in particular, please consider contributing to the conversion. I would like to hear why this section is elevated and not every other. Welcome to the second terminal on the Blue Line expansion project, and that's the Alakija station. Alakija is not so far from Festac, and I believe it's about 2 kilometers or less between both stations. Please keep in mind that I shot the clips in this video 3 weeks apart. I actually had to go there multiple times because I realized that the shots I took weren't good enough, and in the 3 weeks that I went there, I saw significant progress in certain parts of the project. So it goes without saying that work is coming along. Please bear in mind and bear with me that some clips in this video are shaky. As you might know, Lagos is a camera phobic place, and if you try to take pictures of almost anything, people will start getting apprehensive and sometimes violent. So I had to take some shots stealthily. I might be wrong, but I believe the ultimate plan for this blue line might be to connect it to the semi-border sometime in this century and connect it to the proposed West African Coastal Railway. Please consider supporting my work by joining the channel as a member. If that's a bit too much, please consider sending a one-time pack gift. Or if that's a bit too much, simply subscribing and liking is the easiest way to support the work we do out here. Thank you very much as you do so. Welcome to the next station on this route, which is the Trade Fair Blue Line Terminal. Trade Fair, if you are familiar, is famous and infamous for being an insane market where millions of naira change and maybe more, who knows. And if you're familiar with this market and area, you would agree that it's quite important to not just the Nigerian market, but to markets across the border within West Africa. The Trade Fair Terminal has similar progress to that of the Festac station. Most of the skeleton of the project is erect, and I saw workers there on one occasion. These terminals will all be accessed through pedestrian bridges, so you can expect these bridges to go up and be attached to this terminal when they near completion. What do you think of this construction so far? I particularly like the fact that some terminals are more developed than others, so we can see what it looks like at every point of the construction process. I know I mentioned it earlier, but this terminal has given me another reason to appreciate the different phases in the construction life cycle. Welcome to the Volkswagen station, also known as Volks. If you have been paying attention, you would notice that this is the station with the least amount of progress so far. Visibly, it's the least developed so far. During my research, I learned about the Volkswagen plant that is here, and I got sad when I learned about how it all ended up. The penultimate station on this line is the Lagos State University station, also known as LASU. LASU is the second government-owned university in this state, and it's owned by the Lagos State government, unlike Unilag owned by federal government. I know this might seem basic and unnecessary, but a large percentage of this channel are non-Nigeria, so I need to explain basic things like this. On the section between Volkswagen and LASU station, there is an elevated part similar to Alakija. I do not know why this part is elevated, but I hope someone watching the video can shed more light on why this is the reality. I've never actually been in LASU, and I hope to do that sometime soon. It's a university that I heard about a lot growing up, especially in the negative connotation. You know what LASU used to be like those days. This station is quite similar to that of Volks because it's not as developed as the others, but it's not as undeveloped as the one at Volkswagen. Judging by the distance between most other stations, this one seems to be here simply because of the university, and I feel like that's very thoughtful. We are almost at the last station of the BlueLine extension, and I would like to point out a few things before the end of the video. We are now at the final station on phase 2 of the Lagos BlueLine. Welcome to Okokomaiko station. Yes, it's a mouthful, so you can call it Okoko station. The first time I visited, there were lots of construction workers here and activities were going on. There has been lots of construction and infrastructural improvements on this transport corridor. Immediately after this terminal, there is a newly built flyover, and that just adds to the ease of movement for everybody involved. Once again, what do you think of the progress so far and the design language? I'm very excited about what the future holds for this line. I am a very big fan of metros and train transportation, so I'm rooting for it. But this begs the question, is 2027 feasible based on what you've seen so far? Please click on the video on screen now because I made it specially for you. Until the next video, your friend from the Okoko YouTube channel wishes you love, peace and prosperity.